El Dorado, a city of gold hidden deep in the jungles of South America. For centuries, explorers risked everything to find it, convinced that unimaginable riches were just beyond the next mountain pass. But what if the truth behind this glittering legend is stranger than anyone imagined? Gold has always fascinated humanity. It shaped empires, sparked wars, and led people to cross oceans for a chance to claim its promise. But in the 16th century, a rumor began to spread, a tale of a king who covered himself in gold dust and dove into a sacred lake, while his people threw jewels and gold into the water as offerings. This was the first whisper of El Dorado. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in South America, they heard stories from local tribes about a gilded man known as El Hombre Dorado or El Rey Dorado. But over time, this story twisted into something even bigger, a city paved in gold, hidden somewhere in the uncharted jungles and mountains of the New World. Fueled by greed and desperation, conquistadors plunged into the Amazon, enduring disease, starvation, and hostile terrain, all in pursuit of this shining phantom. One of the first to chase the legend was Gonzalo Pizarro, who in 1541 led an expedition with hundreds of men and thousands of animals into the Amazon rainforest. They were convinced they would find endless riches. Instead, they found only endless jungle. Mosquitoes, flooding rivers, and starvation claimed most of the expedition, but the legend of El Dorado only grew stronger, as those who survived returned with tales of glimpses of gold and rumors of kingdoms yet to be found. Even decades later, El Dorado's promise was too tempting to resist. In the late 1500s, English explorer Sir Walter Raleigh launched his own journey, convinced that El Dorado lay along the banks of the Orinoco River in modern-day Venezuela. He never found it, but he wrote books that described a kingdom of unimaginable wealth, ensuring the legend would continue to haunt the minds of Europeans for generations. But where did this myth actually come from? Historians believe the original story referred to the Muisca people of Colombia, who held a ritual at Lake Guatavita. During the ceremony, their new ruler would cover himself in gold dust and sail to the center of the lake, diving beneath the surface to wash off the gold while offerings of gold and precious gems were thrown into the water. Spanish colonizers tried to drain Lake Guatavita multiple times to retrieve the gold at the bottom, but they recovered only a fraction of what they expected. In geomythology, legends often preserve fragments of real events or practices tied to the land. The El Dorado myth likely evolved from indigenous rituals tied to the gold-rich regions of Colombia and Venezuela. The conquistadors, driven by greed, misinterpreted these rituals, transforming them into fantasies of entire cities made of gold. This wasn't the first time geology and myth intertwined. Volcanic eruptions became the anger of gods, fossils became dragon bones, and golden rituals became entire cities hidden in the jungle. Why did people keep searching for El Dorado even after countless failures? For explorers and empires alike, El Dorado represented more than gold. It was the promise of salvation, of escaping debt, of gaining power, of rewriting destiny. The dense jungles of South America became a mirror, reflecting human ambition and desperation. Even into the 20th century, explorers and treasure hunters combed the Amazon, convinced that somewhere, somehow, El Dorado existed. Artifacts like the Muisca raft, a golden sculpture discovered in 1969 depicting the ritual of the Golden King, fueled speculation that the legend was rooted in a real practice, but not a city of gold. Instead, the treasure was cultural, a glimpse into how indigenous peoples connected gold with the sacred, far removed from European greed. Today, El Dorado serves as a reminder of how myths can shape history. It led to exploration that mapped unknown parts of South America, even as it destroyed countless lives in the relentless pursuit of wealth. And it reminds us that sometimes the greatest treasure lies not in gold, but in the stories we tell and in the cultures that create them. So was El Dorado ever real? In one sense, no city of gold ever lay hidden in the jungle. But in another sense, it was very real. The shimmering reflection of human dreams, greed, and hope projected onto the unknown. As long as humans yearn for something just out of reach, the legend of El Dorado will never truly die.